Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Brandy and I'm back with another video. So today's video, of course you can tell by the title, is a book review on Nightcrawling by Leila Mottley. And you guys, this is not a fluffy read. However, it is a good read, but it's not fluffy. So if you're looking for something that's fluffy, this book is not for you. However, this is a book that is going to stick with you for a very, very long time. It took me a while to record this book review because I needed to soak up my feelings. Like, it left me feeling just hurt. Like, it left me feeling hurt. I would definitely read this book again though. It's not one of those hurts where you're like, I never picked that book up again, because I've read some books like that where it left me hurt. I tried to reread the book and I had to sit it back down because I knew what type of hurt I was going to get from that book. But this one here is a different type of hurt because the hurt is for a teenager. The hurt is for a teenager. So I posted this book on my Instagram stories, my Bookstagram stories. If you don't follow my Bookstagram, I'm gonna leave it right here for you guys so that you can follow it. I posted that I was reading this book in my Bookstagram stories, and once I finished the book, I was just like, wow. And then I asked everybody, I put up a poll, I put it here. I put up a poll asking everybody, should I do a book review on it? Because I don't do book reviews on every book that I read. I just do book reviews on books that are probably popular and I just want to give my opinion about them, or books that really just stuck with me the most. And this one, it stuck with me the most. It really did. So it's Nightcrawling by Leila Mottley, and it is a 2022 Oprah's Book Club pick. I had no idea this was an Oprah's Book Club pick until I seen this on the book. I actually picked this book up when I was going on one of my Goodwill bookstore book shopping hauls, and I seen this book in the Facebook groups, and then when I seen it, it was a hard copy, and I think I paid like $4 for it. So I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and get it just so that I can finally read it. So I read this book both physically and via ebook. I was able to check out the ebook via the Libby app. That way when I'm on the move and on the go, I have access to the book because I just wanted to keep on reading. I did not want to stop reading it. And then I think it's because I really wanted to get to the end just to see how the end turned out, because it was just such a great book. So I'm gonna read the synopsis for you guys. So it says, Kiara and her brother Marcus are scraping by in an East Oakland apartment complex. They both have dropped out of high school and are family fractured by death in prison. But while Marcus clings to his dream of rap stardom, Kiara hunts for work to pay their rent, which has more than doubled, and to keep the 9-year-old boy next door abandoned by his mother safe and fed. One night, what begins as a drunken misunderstanding with a stranger turns into a job Kiara never imagined wanting, but now desperately needs: nightcrawling. Her world breaks open even further when her name surfaces in an investigation that exposes her as a key witness in a massive scandal within the Oakland Police Department. Rich with raw beauty, Nightcrawling marks the stunning arrival of a voice unlike any we have heard before. So this story is heartbreaking because this is some people's reality today. And to read how stuff like this even become a norm for people, I couldn't imagine. So first, let me start off by saying the author of this book was 17 when she wrote this book. And it is based off true events that happened in Oakland. So if you're not familiar, go Google it because I'm not about to go over that. I just want to go over the book and how I felt about the book. You guys know I put all of my notes in my iPad, so let me get that pulled back up. So my thoughts while reading the book, and these are non-spoiler thoughts because of course I'm going to go into a few spoilers midpoint of the video, but my thoughts while reading this book, because I had to jot how I was feeling as I was feeling them, simply because I knew when I came here to give you guys a book review, I was not going to be able to do it just off the top of my head and based on how I feel today, probably 1 or 2 weeks after I finished the book. So the first thing I put on here was Kiara's brother failed her to follow his dream to become a rapper, and I hate that for the both of them. So this is not a spoiler because I just read it in a synopsis, but the story kind of started off with Kiara and Marcus, which is her brother. They get a notice on their door saying that the rent is going to increase. Mind you, they are high school students. They do not have jobs and they do not have their parents. So they're already scrapping by to pay the current rent rate. And now they get this notice on the door saying, hey, we're going to increase it double. So Marcus, and again, this is not a spoiler, wants to be a rapper. And one thing I don't like about aspiring rappers and or singers or artists in general is that they surround their lives around that so much where they refuse to get an income because they feel like stardom is right there, which I get that. I get it. Stardom can very well be right there. However, those coins need to be right there too. We still got bills to pay. We still got rent to pay. We still got responsibility. We need income coming in. So he refused to work. The brother refused to work because he was chasing stardom. So I felt like because he was older than her and he was her guardian, he failed her. He failed her. Period. And then I put being forced to grow up in a world full of adults that are just winging it at their big age with zero guidance from your parents is sad. Y'all, we out here winging it. When you really just read this story and then you put it into real life, like us, we are winging it. So to leave children in a situation to fend for themselves like that is so sad. And then per the synopsis, she was even taking care of a bandit 9-year-old. And basically, y'all don't have the means to take care of yourself. And now there's a 9-year-old in a mix that you're trying to take care of. So yeah, overall, it was just like, wow. So I wanted to keep on reading because I wanted to see how they were able to get out of this situation. And I wanted to see how much she can do to take care of that 9-year-old. Like I just needed to see. I needed it for my own, just to make me feel better. I needed it. Like I just needed that for myself. I needed to see how things turned out. Having to get it by any means necessary shouldn't even be praised, because by any means necessary never ever means that it's in a positive way. So for money, she really just got into some things that it's some people's true reality, and because it's some people's true reality doesn't mean that it is okay and that it should be done. And the way that she was put into the situation was like, wow, okay, because she was not forced. She was not forced to be introduced to how she was making income. She was not forced. So, but the way that she was introduced was just like, wow. So to be forced to get it by any means necessary and you're a teenager, like I couldn't wrap my thoughts around that. And then like their mom was still alive, but mentally she was not well. Their dad was not in the picture either. They didn't have any close family members. Like, it is so much. When I was reading this story, I'm like, wow. And it's literally people's harsh reality, like harsh. Another thought I put on here, and I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. The justice system ain't shit. The justice system ain't worth a damn, because per the synopsis, you see she gets tied into some stuff going on with the Oakland Police Department, and the justice system, they're not shit. And I want to say they failed her as well, but that's a given because Kiera was Black. So what did you expect? Ultimately, the story will definitely stick with me for a while. This was, I think me reading this book at the time that I was reading it was perfect, because I was not in a mood for romance, and I was not in a mood for thriller, and I wasn't in a mood for any YA shenanigans at the time. I was just in a mood for a story that really made me think, but not too hard. And I think picking up this book was very, very good for my mental, because I'm not gonna say it's a fluffy read, but it was a palate cleanser in some sort, because I've been reading a lot of thrillers, and then I've been reading a lot of romances. So this kind of, you know, cleared my palette of what I've been reading. Like, let's switch up the genres, sis. And then not only that, I wanted to pick up this book because I have bought this book like months ago. Like I said, when I went to Goodwill and did a Goodwill haul. So I've been trying to incorporate books that I've had on my shelf for a very, very long time, because I am not here to spend coins on books and not read them. I'm not here to spend a coin on a book and just leave it on my shelf for decoration. Like, the goal is to read all of my books, period. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I could have gave it a 5, but the beginning of the book started off kind of slow and confusing to me. It's not in the synopsis, so I don't want to really give it away, but it kind of started off confusing, so much so that I'm actually thinking about going and reading the beginning of the book over, simply because I just need clarity on what was really going on. But ultimately, this book was so good, but don't expect it to be a fluffy read. I know a lot of people on Facebook, because I'm in a lot of Facebook reading groups, have mixed reviews on the book, and I think it's because either one, they went in without reading the synopsis, or two, they was basing their thoughts on what other people was already thinking and feeling about the book before they even read the book. And I don't like to go into books blind. I like to read the synopsis, for one, because I want to make sure it's something I'm interested in, because I'm not paying for something or reading something that I'm not interested in. Now, if it is very well a book that I am interested in, and then the writing was terrible and the story was bad, I'm going to base my opinion off that. I never want to base my opinion about how somebody else feels about the story. So there's that on that. So if you got this far in the video, I highly recommend you read the book. When you are in a mood just for a palate cleanser, or you don't know exactly what you want to read, but your mind and your heart can take just about anything, and it's not harsh. It's not harsh, but it will leave you on your feelings. Pick this book up. Pick it up. Give it a try. Check your Libby app. Check your library, because when I borrowed it from the Libby app, there was not a wait for this book. Like, it's not a popular one right now. So check your library, check your Libby app, see if it's available, and give it a chance. And so if you gotten this far in the video and you want to hear spoilers, continue watching because I got some stuff to say. Okay, so in the first half of the video, I kind of already said some of my random thoughts, but really didn't give much away because my random thoughts were pertaining to what was already in the synopsis. So I'm gonna skip down to the 9-year-old. So the 9-year-old was abandoned by his mom. So he was abandoned by his mom, and she was just out in the streets, child. She was out in the streets. She was getting it how she can. And she left her child at home by himself. And the reason why she felt so comfortable leaving her child home by herself is because she knew her neighbor, Kiera, was going to be looking out for her son, because she even looked out for her son when she was there at the house. Kiera will come, take him to school, make sure he got on the bus, make sure he ate breakfast, make sure he was there on time. And that was just from what her mom used to do before her mom became mentally ill and mentally unstable enough to be able to be the support the community need. So she left the little boy, which his name is Trevor, and Trevor ended up having to live with Kiera, and he kind of was hiding out at Kiera's house because just like her rent was increased, their rent was increased too, and the landlords kept on knocking at the door, and they kind of peeped the scene that he was left home alone and that the mom was never there. And so the mom did show up once in the middle of the story, and she basically showed up and was like, Kiera, you got it. I'm finna go back out here and do what I'm doing. And so ultimately the child protective services end up taking Trevor, and that part really hurt my heart, hurt my soul, because Kiera was not in a predicament or the situation where she could take care of this child, but she did not want him to get taken away from child protection services because she knew that the living arrangements and how that system works is not for the best. And so that tore me apart because I'm like, it's bittersweet. Like, you know, you can't take care of him, but then you know when he gets with these people, they don't really truly care for these kids. So that part broke me. Tony, which was their uncle, who kind of influenced their brother Marcus to become a rapper, he was stuck between a rock and a hard place. He kind of influenced Marcus to become a rapper, and then Marcus will follow him and do whatever it is that Tony was doing, and going to the studio with him and everything, and just following his footsteps, kind of like a mentor in a sort. And then Tony's song got put on the radio, and he went up from there. And once he became famous and started making money, he left. He left his sister, which is Kiera and Marcus' mom, and his family behind, and he went and did his stardom. He went and enjoyed stardom, and Marcus was very, very upset with Tony about that, because he's like, you were my mentor, you showed me the ropes of all of this, and then as soon as you became famous, you up and dipped, and now we're doing terrible and you're not even coming back to help us. So Marcus ended up getting arrested. I'm not going to say why because I still want y'all to read the book. Marcus ended up getting arrested. Kiera went to go see him, and he's like, I need you to do one thing for me. I need you to find Tony. Tony was out here hiding, y'all, like to the point where he wasn't even giving him his phone number. She had to go through hell and high water to find his phone number. Finally found his phone number, convinced him to come out here to see this boy in jail. She asked him, why you leave us? And he was like, I was in a situation where I either had to choose myself and my family, or I had to choose you guys. And ultimately I created a family, so I had to choose my family. It was, y'all, it was hard. It was hard. I understood where he was coming from, but then I also understood where Kiera and Marcus was coming from. More so Marcus, because bro, you was my mentor, and I was following your footsteps, and you got famous and you dipped. Now I can't trust nobody. Trevor had got jumped. The 9-year-old, he had got jumped and beat up by some kids because Trevor could play some ball, and he knew how to bet and get money playing ball in the neighborhood. And he was winning so much, child, and beating these older kids. These kids jumped him. And Kiera went over there saying, no, Kiara was like, she going back and she beating them boys up. Like, she don't care that she's older than these boys. She did not care because they shouldn't have been messing with Trevor because the boys was older than Trevor. And she's older than the boys. So it's like a domino effect. And that reminded me of me because when I was younger, this boy that was too big to be hitting on my little brother was hitting on my little brother and made my little brother cry. My little brother came and got me. And I went and I just slung the little boy. I just slung him. I didn't hit him or nothing. And then he went and told his dad. Well, then his dad and my dad was talking. And he was like, your daughter is too big to be hitting on my son. And I jumped in. And I was like, and your son is too big to be hitting on my brother. And my dad was like, well. And that's how I felt about that situation. When I was reading it, I was cracking up because it just reminded me of me. So Marcus, he got locked up off of a huge drug bust. And it was mainly because Kiara kind of led the police on and she didn't even know it. So I was just like, if Kiara never came, he would have never got put in jail. But I honestly feel like prison was probably better than the situation that he was in. Marsha, the attorney that was working with Kiara, because I don't want to give too much out, but just know Kiara was definitely in some mess, child, especially with the Oakland Police Department. I really want y'all to read the book, because she was in some mess. She got caught up in a mix, because ultimately she was selling her body for money. So, she was selling her body for money because she was getting it how she can. And she got caught up in a mix because she was messing with the police officers. And so her attorney was good. She really did more than she had to for Kiara. She was getting her hair done and all of that to get her ready for court. Got monetary donations to help assist with paying rent and paying bills while she was taking care of her during the case. So I really felt like Marsha was very, very good. Even though she was helping her, I still feel like she could have had just a little bit better lawyer or attorney or whatever, but that's just my thought. The 9-year-old coming to be taken away from the state was so sad because although his living situation was terrible, I honestly don't think the state could have done any better. And I just went into that. I don't think they could have done any better. They say they can, but I just feel like, no. His mom was just one of those people that just didn't need kids. That's it and that's all, because she was already wrapped up in her lifestyle and she had a child, and yeah, she didn't need no kids. The type of lifestyle she was already living, she should have never had any kids. And I feel like he was probably an accidental pregnancy and she just went along with it. Kiara's mom was mentally ill, and due to that fact, I have a small dose of grace for her. When you read the book and you realize why mom is not there, because mom was living in a halfway house, but then when Kiara go to visit her mom, which wasn't often, I think she went twice in the book, and the conversation she was having with her mom, you could tell mentally something was wrong with her. And she needed to be exactly where she was at because she wouldn't have been able to help these kids, no way. For a minute, I couldn't tell if her and her friend, and I forgot her friend name, and if I think of it while I'm editing this video, I'll put it here. But for a moment, I couldn't tell if they were best friends or if they was in a relationship. Because it was a girl, and I just couldn't tell, were you guys feeling each other and y'all were in a relationship, or were y'all best friends? Because some of the stuff, it was a little bit too much touchy, feely. But I just couldn't get with it. But her friend did set some boundaries, especially with Kiara doing the type of work that she was doing, because her friend had a family member who got caught up in that type of stuff too, but it was pressured and it wasn't her doing it willingly. So her friend was like, yeah, we're gonna have to separate for a moment because my family member is over here fighting for her life basically, and you are doing the same exact thing, but you are okay with it. So yeah, boundaries had to be set. She loved her friend, but she was like, yeah, we're gonna have to separate until we get this all sorted out. Some of the dialogue between her and her brother was odd to me. They were extremely affectionate for one another. And I don't know if it's because I was not brought up in a super duper affectionate household or what, but the dialogue that they had, it was just kind of weird. Like the type of dialogue they had, you would think she was referencing a boyfriend, or it was just weird. I think she was calling him her daddy, or if I find it, I'll put a quote here or whatever. But I just feel like the dialogue between them two was kind of, what? Are y'all siblings? Or I don't know. It was weird to me. If you read this book, let me know. Let me know. And my last random thought is, ultimately the story is sad. She got into something she just couldn't get herself out of. I wish she had a mentor better than the other hoe. Like, child. Because how you got a mentor doing the same thing you doing? What is she mentoring you on? What is she helping you with? Like, I don't get it. But she did what she had to do to make it and she got caught up in a mix. So ultimately, the story is a good story. If you're into anything like that, definitely pick up the book and read it. I highly, highly recommend. I do want to give you guys a quote. A quote that stuck out to me, and I even put this on my Bookstagram book review, is, streets always find you in the daylight when you least expect them to. Night crawling up to me when the sun's out. So basically, night crawling is in reference to the type of work she was doing. She was selling her body, and of course she has to do it at night. And that quote, I was just like, wow. Because in the daytime, ain't nobody checking for you, sis. Ain't nobody trying to pay for nothing. But then as soon as that sunset, it's on and it's popping. And it's a harsh reality. It really is. I really, really want you guys to read the book. And if you have read the book, drop some comments down below. Tell me how you felt about the book. Whether you liked it or disliked it. We're not gonna like the same books. And I love that about us, because the dialogue between people who liked and disliked the book is always so good, because I'm always so interested on why you didn't like it, or why you did like it if I didn't like it. So yeah, that's it for this book review. I hope this book review serves you guys very, very well. Thanks to my Bookstagram folks for asking me to make this book review. I had to sit on it for a while because I just had to get my thoughts together. But I am so happy that I read the book. I highly, highly recommend that you read it too if you ever get the chance. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on this video. And until next time, peace out.